Okay, you ready for this one? Another little clip from the memoir. I have found that if I've written it for the memoir already and then moved it to Substack, it's easier for me to edit and make it a Substack post than one time I have taken a Substack post and then moved it and put it into the memoir. And I'll just say it's easier to move from book to post than from post to book, the amount of work it takes to kind of make it make sense. So this one comes out of a story in the final section of the book. And right now, I have, we'll say, about 2 chapters left before we do our intensive revisions. So this one is a story about what my oldest son taught me regarding how I engaged with him. And so we were, I'll say, we moved to Spring, Texas in 2018. And in those years, 2018, 2019, into 2020, there was in our family a lot of strife. The strife wasn't any specific, like we weren't mad, but we were struggling with fit, how the family fit, how I was supporting them, if I was supporting them enough, not financially, but just with my presence, are we in the right place? And so there was a lot of debate internally in the family about whether or not we were doing the right thing. And we had inquired about changing schools, which was a big deal for us because, as I give you the gang imagery, school choice amongst people in my sphere can really feel like you are making a gospel decision. Like there is a right and there is a wrong, and you can't be one and not the other. And the amount of internal pressure, the whole chapter in the book is about the pressure I was feeling to make this change and the way it was provided that we could make the change. But I really did struggle with it because I was known in a certain way and I had to kind of undo that. Now, this story is not about all of those transitions. It really pulls out just the part in dealing with how we handled the situation and what came from it. And so it's funny because we've actually heard, I have in my email, Courtney and I have it, the admissions counselor's perspective on the interview, which I might put that perspective in the book because it's pretty funny. She remembers stuff from the interview that I do not. One of those being that one of our children looked at us and said, "Are you really going to make us come to this school?" And so I'm crawling in my skin because I can't believe the kids would feel this way. But I'm very, very frustrated. So here I am with my kids, angry about how this is going, but I don't want them to see it. And yet I am. I'm really, really bugged. And so I give you these words: anger, embarrassment, confusion. Oh, sorry. That is not what I need. I need to search for anger. Anger, embarrassment, confusion. That is what I was dealing with as their dad. So I was bothered, and we're driving back, and I have this way of when it's time to teach a lesson, I just go. And it may not be the best time. It may not be the best way. It may not be the best anything. But when I feel like it's time to tell my kids something, I want to tell them. And so they're crying. We have debates on how many are crying, but at least 2 of the 3, I think, are, if not all 3. Though one of them's like, I wouldn't have cried about that. I didn't even remember. But the line that was used, which is, "You just needed to tell us." Well, that's the one that stuck with me. You just needed to tell us. And it wasn't about controlling my kids. In fact, I came in going, we'll see how it goes. Best of luck to us. But what they really needed was me to give them attention and coaching, but advice on what it meant to be appropriate in this kind of situation. And so when he just goes, "You just had to tell us." And he said it through tears. And I'm realizing just how much I missed my opportunity with them. And so when I say they don't need me as a drill sergeant, they need me as their dad, I really am speaking about it in regard to how I missed it because of the lack of attention that I gave. And so when I give that final exhortation of don't assume, it's just because it's so common for us to want to tell people exactly what we think they did wrong or what we think that they need. And in this instance, it was a great lesson from a young boy who was 10 or 11 at the time. I can't remember what I put, but, a young kid at the time. And I'm sitting here assuming he's going to know everything. And I've tried since then to help them know what to expect instead of just assuming that they're going to know what to expect. And so there you go. And then because it's a Substack post, I throw a little Andrew Peterson video in there because I love Andrew Peterson stuff. But I might later at another time give some of the admission counselor's comments, but we are going to try and put that into the book because it's pretty funny the way she remembers it. And she says it was one of her top 5 interview experiences, and it went nothing like she thought it was going to go. So there you go, friends. And I say this to anybody, reply, comment, reach out to me if there's any way that I can be serving you or if you have a story you want to tell.